Hello everyone. Today I want to bring you a dishcloth. So it's kind of a make it with me or just watch how I make it. So first thing you're going to do is do a slip knot. You're going to leave a fairly long tail. To do a chain, you are going to pull the yarn over the hook and you are just going to pull a loop through. And I apologize in advance for not always being in frame. This was a little tricky. So what I like to do after I've crocheted a couple chains is I like to slide that last stitch up. It really locks that in place and I just don't count that first stitch. So for this, I'm just going to keep on chaining till I have about 40 stitches, not including that first one. And then I'll chain one extra one, so it'll technically be 41. All right, so here we're going to start single crocheting and going back in the reverse direction. So to single crochet, you're just going to insert your hook into the chain there, pull up one loop, yarn over and pull through both loops. So again, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops. Insert, pull up a loop, yarn over again, pull through both loops. And you're just going to do this all the way across. All right, we are ready to turn the corner and go back the other direction. So to do that, we are going to chain one. And then we are just going to turn the entire piece around and go back in the opposite direction. So to do this, we're going to create a rib effect on this dishcloth. So we are going to crochet in the back loop only of the previous single crochet. So go in the back loop, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both loops, just like we did on the first row in the chain. The only difference is that this, you are doing it in the back loop of that stitch instead of through both loops or the front loop. So you're just going to do this across all the way until the end. So in this video, I really kind of wanted to show you guys a project from start to finish. And this video is fairly long, so it's going to have a lot of me just chatting. Most of us who crochet or knit or craft are inspired by someone in our family or a close family member or just a close friend who inspired us to even pick this up. And for me, it was my mom and my great-grandmother. And when I was really young, probably about eight, my mom was crocheting, and of course I wanted to do it with her, and she was trying to get a baby blanket done for a couple at church who were expecting. And so it was the wrong time for mom to try to teach me how to do something when she was, had a deadline to finish the blanket. But she tried to get me to do a headband, and unfortunately, since she was also busy, I wasn't able to quite pick it up as easy as I thought it would be, and I struggled. And even here, as you guys are watching this, I'm struggling to film this and crochet at the same time. Otherwise, it's quite relaxing and rewarding. This was a little difficult because I was trying to keep everything in frame. But anyway, the headband never did get made, but when I was 9, I started 4-H, and one of our first projects to do was a dishcloth and a, I believe it's called a magic pot holder, and I'll have a video on that as well. But it made it easy to learn from someone else. Not that my mom wasn't an excellent teacher. At the time, it was just easier to learn from somebody different. Anyway, all the things that mom has made has really inspired me to learn more and to make more. Later, when I was about 14-ish, my great-grandmother at that time had gone blind. She had had macular degeneration and had lost her center vision. And so she went from being able to do gorgeous Afghans and with Afghan stitch and chevrons and really pretty Afghans. She made every single family member a blanket, to really only being able to do granny squares. And she could do granny squares still because she could feel the pattern. And I was trying very hard to learn granny squares, and for whatever reason, mom explained it to me and it didn't make sense. And she was working full-time at the time, and I was going to school, and we just had a disconnect. So when we were visiting my great-grandmother, I asked her if she could teach me how to do a granny square. And of course, at this time, she was blind, so she pulled up some yarn and she just started crocheting, and I could watch her do it. She couldn't, of course, see me to guide me in person, but I could just sit there and watch. So part of this video is I'm speeding up a lot of the footage, and some of the footage I even shot in time lapse. But I'm hoping that you guys kind of get the gist of crochet just by watching. Because of course I'm not sitting with you to give you any instant feedback. But I'm hoping that this inspires you to learn more and to pick it up and take it with you. The other great thing about crochet, and you'll see in this video, I shot this over a series of days and at different locations and a series of time. And a lot of the time I was able to just pick it up. It lives in a bag, and I was able to take it wherever I go. I crochet a lot at church. I crochet at ball games and whatever sporting events my kids are doing. I always have a bag with me, and I'm either knitting or crocheting or doing some type of hand project just to keep myself busy. I also don't necessarily count the time when I'm crocheting, when I'm doing multiple things, such as watching a ball game or sitting in church, because I'm multitasking during those events. So anyway, so here I sped the video up drastically just to kind of get through it. But anyway, I'm hoping you guys enjoy this. I'm hoping you guys can learn from it, and that it inspires you. And this is really, as long as this took me to do, this is a very simple, beginner-friendly project. It does take some time, but that's okay, and it's just what you make of it. So I wanted to add, when you are learning to crochet, it is perfectly acceptable to only do a few stitches or a few rows or just a little bit of what you're doing, and just put it down at any time. You do not have to make this whole project in one day or in an evening. And it's okay if you have to start over and rip the whole thing out and start over because you made a mistake. It's okay. Crochet is all about doing it in your own time, at your own speed, and in your own style. So you don't have to do it the way I do it. I don't expect you to. You can do it any way that you choose. So have fun with it. All right, we're almost to the end, I promise. So, a good way to check and see if you are square, to see if you are at the end, is to kind of stretch out the cloth a little bit, make it a little bit even, and then pull one corner to the other and kind of see where you're at. So here you can see it doesn't quite go to the end, so I think I need about 2 more rows. I actually think I needed 3, but I'm gonna do at least 2 more. And just keep on going, but that is a good way to check and see if your cloth is square. All right, we're now ready for the finishing touches. So I'm gonna check again and see if it's square. And I kind of decided I was tired of crocheting, so even though it doesn't quite match up at the bottom, it's okay, especially since this cloth is ribbed and it has quite a bit of stretch. So I was satisfied to end here. So I wanted a hanging loop on my cloth, so I am just here at this corner. I am just going to put on 12 chains. 10 or 12 is fine. I put on 12 because that was the size of loop that I wanted. So I'm just going to chain 12, and then I'm going to come back down here at the bottom, and I'm going to secure it with 2 single crochet in the same spot. And then for whatever reason, I don't remember at this point, I decided I didn't like how it looked, so I redid it. The nice thing about crochet is to undo a mistake, you just pull out the couple stitches and redo it. So here it is pretty much done. That loop there, I'm going to finish it off with 1 chain. I cut my yarn, and then the last step to do to make this cloth completely finished is to weave in the ends. You're going to weave in that tail that you started off with, and you're going to weave in this tail here. And to do that, you can either use a tapestry needle, a yarn needle, or the hook here, and all I'm going to do is just pull it through. I'm just going to wrap around the chain there and just pull it through so that it is nice and secure. If you leave too short of a tail, sometimes your knot can slip out and then your whole project unravels later. I've had that happen a little bit just because I was trying to conserve yarn, and so I thought I would only leave like a 1 inch long tail. And it was a sad end to some of my projects. So leave a decent enough amount of tail to weave back in, and then it's less likely that your project will unravel later. So I hope you enjoyed watching this. I know it was a lengthy video and it's a little boring, but I hope that you were able to learn how to make a dishcloth, and that you found this tutorial / make it with me / watch me make something fun and beneficial. So happy crocheting to any of you who choose to pick this up. So I will be posting more crochet tutorials coming up in the next couple of weeks. So if you like this one, please give it a thumbs up, share, subscribe, and follow along for more content. Have a blessed day and happy crocheting.